Good morning, everybody, and welcome to this week's assembly. Now, if I've opened the right Advent calendar this morning, it's the 7th of December. And I know that means that quite a lot of us are probably starting to think about Christmas and think about preparations for what we're going to do over the 2 weeks when we're not at school. But if it is the 7th of December today, and I'm pretty certain it is, that also means that this week is the start of Human Rights Week. And that's what today's assembly and a lot of the other activities that you're going to do during tutor time this week is all about. And I want to begin by saying happy 72nd Human Rights Day, because that is on the 10th of December. And every year on the 10th of December is Human Rights Day. And that's because this is the day when many countries around the world, including the UK, signed the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. I'm not going to go into too much of the history about that, because I know that later on this week, many of you are going to be watching videos and going through the articles with your tutors. But what I will say is this came about as a result of some of the horrific things that happened during World War II. And the world, or the vast majority of the world, came together to recognise that every single human being should have the most basic rights. And we'll just go through a couple of those now. So the article that's on the left-hand side, that is the declaration that many countries signed. And over here, the more colourful boxes, those are some of the 30 articles. So for example, number 1, people are born free with equal rights. That's the first article. Now, I haven't got time here to go through every single one of the 30 articles, and perhaps unsurprisingly, the one that I've chosen to go through is number 26 down here, that every single person has the right to an education. So let's look at that one in a little bit more detail. So as an individual, I have the right to an education. And when most people think about that, you think about children and young people that are going to school. So I think, and this isn't anybody's fault, definitely when I was your age, I would have thought the same. I would have thought, well, that's a given really, because the country that we live in, the country that I was brought up in, it's almost certain that when you reach the age of about 4 or 5, you go to school and you carry on going to school to probably the age of 16, or nowadays it's more the age of 18. However, we don't actually all go to school. So if we stop thinking about Hina and we stop thinking about our country and we think about the world, actually only 2/3 of children complete enough of their education to reach the end of primary school. So in our country, that would mean that only 2/3 of you would have got to the end of year 6. So if you look around your tutor group now, 1/3 of the children that you're sat with simply wouldn't go to school. Now, if we think about secondary school, which is where we are all at now, only 40% of children in the entire world actually complete secondary school. Now, there's many, many different reasons for this, but this actually goes against their human right, because every single individual has the right to an education. So let's start thinking a little bit more about the reality of what's happening around the world. And I am fortunate enough to have a little bit, not a lot, but a little bit of first-hand experience with this. So here, you can see, that's me looking quite a bit younger and quite a bit less tired. There's me standing with a man called Stanwell. And my wife and I, after we got married, the summer after we got married, and before we had children, we decided to spend 5 weeks in Malawi. So all of these pictures here were all taken in Malawi. So Stanwell's somebody that we lived with for 5 weeks. And then the picture on the left-hand side is a picture of a section of one of the classrooms. So there are about 90 children in there that are in a classroom that are approximately the same size as ours. And then the one on the picture on the bottom right was a maths test. So when you do a maths test, you would use a sheet that's been photocopied. That school didn't have electricity, so there was no way that they could use a photocopier. So the maths test that they had to do was all off the blackboard. And then at the bottom left, I just thought I'd include a picture. You can just about make it out. That's a snake that is there. And that was just outside the school toilet. So I thought that was worth taking a picture of too. Now, I just want to talk about the children that are in the top left-hand corner, because all of those children are about year 6, year 7 age. And when you talk to the teachers, they tell you that the children do really, really well at their school when they're in year 3, year 4, year 5, year 6, year 7, year 8. And then when it gets to year 9, they all do very, very badly. And I had no idea why. So I started asking the teachers and I said, why is that the case? And when they get to the age of students that are in year 9, once they get past that age, their education stops. So they no longer go to school because at that point, only private schools exist. And none of these children's families here are rich enough to provide them with an education that they have to pay for. So they fail year 9, these children, purposefully, because they absolutely love going to school and they really value how important education is. But unfortunately, if they pass that year, they can't carry on. So they fail it, so they get to resit year 9 again, and then they'll fail it again, so they get to sit year 9 again. And I found that really, really sad that all of these children here are extremely committed and motivated and very bright, but cannot continue on with a normal education that you and I are able to have. Now, I just wanted to show you that to give you a little bit of context about certain countries around the world, but I want to bring it back to our school now, and I want us to think about our education and our very own human rights. So we've all this year, because we're here, have lived through the year 2020. So we're perhaps able to empathise a little bit more with not going to school, because quite a few of us didn't go to school for a number of weeks. And I'm going to ask you tutors to pause this assembly shortly so that you can have a really quick 5-minute discussion. And I want the first couple of minutes you to think about what it would be like to never go to school again. So if I said to you now, school's closed and we're never coming back again, I'd like you to think about what that actually would mean. And then secondly, and for me, this is perhaps more important, what would that mean for your futures? So if you pause the video now, and then we'll come back together in about 5 minutes' time. Okay, now, I don't know what you've all discussed because you're all in different tutor groups and I can't ask anybody questions. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to think about why one of the 30 talks about having the right to education. And I think we have the right to education because education gives us all, not just individuals, every single one of us, a brighter future. If we think about all of that wonderful work that's been done over the last few months to get the vaccines ready, and they're going to start to be rolled out very shortly, that wouldn't have happened if we didn't have very bright people who have been in education for a long time. It also provides brighter futures for us all. So every single person that's in school at the moment, they are the people that are going to go on to be the next teachers, the next doctors, the next construction workers, the next people that work in banks. We need those people to be educated. The whole of society needs to be as educated as possible so that we all live in a better society. The second thing I thought about was about making the world a safer and a fairer place. So we need clever people to keep us safe, and we need extremely intelligent people that know the difference between right and wrong and can then argue the point across about being what's fair and what's just. And then thirdly, so the first two are all about society in my mind, but the third one is about you as individuals. So we all have hopes and dreams, but without education, we're not able to turn those dreams into reality. So I speak to a lot of students and they talk about wanting to be a marine biologist or a doctor or a nurse or the best car mechanic that there can be. Without education, none of those things are going to happen. And I think we're extremely fortunate in this country to be able to have that right to an education and really continue and stay in education for as long as we want to. To summarise those three things, I've come up with 3 words. For me, education gives us hope. So it gives hope for the future that the world's going to be a better place. And then it gives individuals those 2 second words. It gives them opportunity to better themselves, but it also gives them choice about what they want to do in the future. And for those 3 things, I'm extremely grateful that we live in a country that operates properly under the Human Rights Act. I'm going to end this assembly now thinking about what we can do and what you can do as students right from this very moment. So the first thing that you can do is realise how fortunate you are to actually be in the building. Yes, it might be a little bit cold because we've got to have the windows open because of the coronavirus, but there are some children around the world that would literally walk hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of miles to be in the position that you're in right now. And we shouldn't forget that. I know it's difficult sometimes, but we should always remember how fortunate we are to be in a school and getting an education. And then the second thing that you can do is try your very, very best in school. So that starts from today, because you guys are the future. You are lucky enough to be in a country that allows you to have a free education. So do well in school, and then you have the opportunity to have a positive impact on your local community and the wider world in the future. Thank you very much for listening, and I hope you have a wonderful day celebrating Human Rights Day and that you learn much more about human rights throughout the week.